Alright, so today class we're going over multimeters. So there's two main types of multimeters. You got digital right here, right? So digital will have a digital readout right on the front. There's something inside here that will actually go ahead and read the electricity for you, and it shows the digital readout right there. So of course you got all your different settings here. You got A with the waves, that's going to be of course your voltage. Or amperage, I'm sorry. So then you got voltage AC, which is the V with the wave. Then you got voltage DC, which is the V with the dotted line. Then of course you have your ohm meter or your squanch setting. You could of course hit the mode button to switch between those two when you're on that setting. Same with the AC and DC volt setting right there, if you can see that. Anyway, so with these, you got the digital readout, something inside of there is reading it. These ones also come with fuses, making them the more safe version of a multimeter. Next up, we got an analog. So with an analog, it has an actual physical needle in there that makes a physical movement in order to show you either the flow of current, the power of the current, anything you could want. So with this one, it has all of the little readings set out all there on the dial. So if you're testing for volts, you don't got to look at the ohms part. You only look at the volt part. With something like the digital, it'll tell you. You're not going to be seeing it pull up ohms when you're on the voltage setting. It's just not going to do that. With this one, the needle is still going to be flicking around wherever it is, but you're going to have to differentiate for yourself which one you're looking at. And of course, you can switch on the little dial right there to switch between what you're testing for. Next up, we got a different kind of analog. So with this kind of analog, you have your reading. Right now it's set to check for amps, so it's going to read out amps on the little reader right there. But if we switch it over, let's go with volts here. So you can see now it reads out volts. It doesn't read out amps or ohms. It only reads out volts. So when you measure volts, it's going to show you volts. This one still works with a needle though. So that needle is powered by a magnet. The more energy, the more the magnet gets stronger, which causes the needle to move more. Now, one thing you will probably have on most clamps, but not all of them, is an amp clamp, right? So I have an amp clamp every single one of these. They all look a little different, right? And it's okay if they look a little different. They all do the same basic thing. What it's doing is typically you'd have to run this in series to test for current, right? Because you have to get the current flowing through the multimeter. But with the clamp, if you put it on that wire, the current is still going through the clamp. So using the inductance, right, from the magnetism, it can tell how much energy is coming off that wire through the clamp, and then you can get a reading. If you don't have a clamp, you have to run it in series with the circuit so that the current goes through the meter. Otherwise, you just can't get a reading at all. So next up we got, after we got through the types of clamps, is the types of wires, right? So typically the main set of probes you're going to have is you're going to have one hot or positive wire, and you're going to have one neutral or common wire, right? Typically when you get these, they come with little covers on the end. I don't know where my black cover's gone, but you can see on the red one right there, it's got a little cover to keep the inside all clean and non-corrosive. And whenever you're hooking those up, you want to go ahead and read up on your inserts. Sometimes they'll have a third one. Yeah, you can switch that out as needed. It depends on what you're testing for, how much you're testing for. This one only has two. So you got your hot, which is right there. Stick your hot in there. Then you got your common, which is right there. This one's yellow. It's not black, but you can tell it's common because if you look right there, it says COM, which of course means common. So go ahead and plug that guy in. If this one were working, I could use it for you, but it's not, so it doesn't work. Anyway, so when you're using these, right, first of all, you're going to take off your covers. These are for keeping them all together inside of your pack. You want to hold them from the ends. You can touch them when you squanch to make sure there's continuity through the meter. You know, make sure you stick them good. Make sure you keep your hands back though. You want them on the very ends of these probes. Otherwise you run the risk of getting your hands too close, and your hand is a conductor. If you're touching this metal bit, if you're close to this metal bit, an arc could come off, an arc could connect, you could become a live circuit. You don't want that. That's, not going to end well for you. Whenever you get done with your probes, you got to make sure you put your covers back on. That way nobody gets poked or prodded and your probes stay nice and good. Now, if you get a set like mine, sometimes you can get the special ends for these. That way you don't have to do as much poking and prodding. You can just put it once and clamp it on there. These are gator clamps. So if you look, there's a little clamp right in the end there. So what you have to do for that is you get your probe right here, take your cover off, and there's a little hole down in there. You're going to want to slide your needle through that hole, and then make sure that gator's down in the socket, otherwise it won't properly connect up and it'll be real loose and fall off. So you want it down in the cover, that way there's no chance for you to get shocked yourself, and it's out of the way and hooked up correctly. Then all you gotta do is come back here, you can squeeze that, get a little wire in there, and you let go, clamps on, you're good to go. Don't gotta do any more poking or any of that jazz. Alright, y'all have a good one.